name is Ariana. Have you wondered what is causing you to be so tired and sluggish? Well, that can be the result of daylight savings. Are you getting annoyed when it starts to get way darker earlier, leaving you having to go inside earlier and causing you to spend less time outside? Well, today I'm going to talk about 3 different things. A quick quote, 1 being what daylight savings is, kind of background information about it. 2, how tourism is affected. And 3, what I personally think about daylight savings. A quick quote or something easy to remember, daylight savings is spring forward, fall back. Some background information is something I'll start off by talking about. Daylight savings happens when the clocks go ahead due to warmer weather and the clocks go back as it gets colder. So in states where it's warmer, such as Florida and stuff, that can be a big problem. The main purpose is to make better use of daylight and spend the right amount of time outside. When we move ahead an hour during daylight savings, it gives more light during the day, which is good for tourist destinations. It allows more light for outdoor activities such as snowboarding, skiing in the mountains, swimming on the beaches, or even walking around the city. When the clocks go back, it gets darker earlier, which is annoying for places that rely on tourism as a major source of income. How daylight savings kind of started. So the idea started with many different people, but mainly Benjamin Franklin. He thought that waking up earlier in the summer would be beneficial since it would be lighter outside longer. He first implemented this in the United States with the Standard Time Act of 1918, which happened during World War I. So that happened a really long time ago. Many people complained that their children had to go to school when it was dark. So they tried to get the bill sent away so that way they didn't have to use this as a way for their children to get scared of walking to school in the dark, because a lot can happen in the dark. Daylight savings affects not only everybody on an everyday basis, but it affects especially tourist destinations. 62% of people want daylight savings to end, and nearly 60% of people feel drained and inefficient due to daylight savings. Having light for longer helps with tourism, so it helps businesses which gain income. It helps people's mental health and them not feel so sluggish and tired. It also affects the safety since it stays light outside longer. Some states that are trying to get rid of daylight savings are Florida, Colorado, Georgia, Maine, Tennessee, and Utah. Mainly states that have a lot of tourist places such as like skiing, snowboarding, swimming, going to the beach, anything along those lines where people usually travel to either during the summer or during the winter. Take this picture for example. Wouldn't you just want to be at the beach all day long and not have to worry about when it gets dark that you have to go inside because you can't see anymore where you're swimming or where you're walking? Well, Florida, for example, a state that's mainly known for their beaches and tons of tourism, wants to end daylight savings. That way it stays lighter for the longer amount of the day and more people will come and more people will spend time outside doing outdoor activities, mostly swimming, snorkeling, anything along those lines. This picture shows snowboarding or skiing in the mountains. This usually happens during the winter, and because during the winter it does get darker earlier, states such as like Utah and Colorado, they want daylight savings to end because they want to be able to have more people coming for skiing and snowboarding, and that's mainly how those places get their money, because of the tourists coming in and spending tons of money on snowboarding, skiing, or in Florida, for example, going to beaches. This chart shows about kind of a little bit of a difference between how people think that daylight savings should just go away all in all and that it should be standard time all year. Then you can see here that 31% want daylight savings all year, and then 28% are kind of like back and forth, like not really sure what they want. Like they're kind of like don't really care. Now for me, I believe that daylight savings should go away, that it should just end. I know personally that because of daylight savings, when we go back, like especially during the winter, I can just tell that it makes me more tired because at 5:30 when it gets dark, your mind just automatically thinks that it's like 8, 9 o'clock, but it's only 6 o'clock, and so it kind of just makes you more tired, and it makes you not want to do anything. I like when it's light outside because I like being able to do things all day long. I like to be able to go outside, to play sports. I love the beach, so I love to be able to swim, just walk around the city, anything like that. But when it gets dark earlier, it's difficult to do that sort of thing. So I want daylight savings to just end. I feel that it shouldn't have been implemented, that it was just kind of useless. I feel that daylight savings is good for when you are waking up in the morning and it's light, but I just don't like how dark it gets at night. Especially safety is the number one thing. And for daylight savings, when it gets darker earlier, a lot more crime happens when it's darker. Well, it can happen like when it's light too, but majority of it happens when it's darker or during the nighttime. And if it's getting dark, especially in like bigger cities like New York, Chicago, any of those places, a lot more crime can occur, which isn't safe for anyone. So I just feel that daylight savings should go away and that we should just stick with the standard time all year long and not have to worry about changing the clocks. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I hope that you learn more about daylight savings and that you're able to figure out if you want it to stay or go.